The United Gold Coast. What is the name again?
United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC. Yeah,
Okay.
they were led by PAA Grant, Akwaje, JB Danquah, Ufuriata, and others. Most of them were heavily linked with the chiefs and traditional rulers and all that.
Yeah. So the
Mm,
United Gold Coast Convention, they wanted a slower approach towards it. They
yeah.
wanted to take it slow. They had been the intermediaries between the colonial masters and the people. What I suppose you can call them co-ops. They were cooperative to some extent and accommodating of the colonialists.
Yes.
They felt Nkrumah was more radical because he wanted
Correct.
self-governance right now.
Mhm.
Okay. And this is the environment that you were born into, basically.
So that's the period that one was born into. We were lucky. That is it. And then Ghana fought hard, and Nkrumah fought hard, and then we gained independence 6 March 1957. But
Hmm.
the CPP won elections and they took over government in 1951. But there was still the Governor General, that's the British, they were in control of the military, the finance, and foreign affairs, and
Okay.
Nkrumah was the leader of government business or the prime minister at that time. So they started to institute measures to bridge the gap of underdevelopment and bring the population up to make up and to catch up.
Hmm.
So several educational institutions sprang up and development sprang up over the almost 100 years of the British presence. Within 10, 15 years, the spate of development was far more than all the 100 years or so together. That was
I
incredible.
see.
And that regime, yeah, we all benefited from that system, the free education. And it was a period when you saw that the country was moving. You all felt in
Mm,
yourself that there was something happening. There was
mm,
movement. There was
mm,
high expectations. There was work and happiness. People were working. You saw construction all over the place, and people were busy and studying. People were being sent abroad to study and all that. So it was a period of fruitful endeavor. It was
mm.
a period where we called it work and happiness. So much to do. And people felt that we were
Mm.
building a nation. That was the spirit. Everybody had it.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like progress, a period of progress. That sounds like potential that we can create basically a nation that we want. But the one question that is in my head right now is how does that time compare to Ghana now? That period and Ghana now. When you compare those two periods, what are the main differences and what are the similarities, if any?
Well, at that time period, you felt that we were in charge
Mm,
of our own destiny
mm,
and we were shaping things, dictating things.
mm.
But now it is different. Ghana, like many other African countries, has been recolonized
Really?
and we are teleguided from White House, from Elysee, and all that. So that is a reality now.
When you say recolonize, you mean economically, right?
Economically and politically, the
Hmm.
political economy is shaped from outside.
I see.
It's
Can
totally different from what happened during our time in the 50s and the 60s. It's totally different. And there was a
sorry.
watershed. I think there
Mhm.
was a watershed. Nkrumah and Ghana were progressing and developing at such a rate and also influencing the rest of Africa. So the US and Britain, basically, and the French, the Germans and the Canadians, they became very worried
Why?
because they depend on Africa. Africa has what they need in terms of minerals and other things, agricultural products and all that for them to develop and then for them to continue enjoying the lifestyle that they do. They needed
I see.
Africa.
And they were worried.
Yes, they were very worried. So they started
Go on.
sabotaging Nkrumah.
How?
What you have to look at things in context. When Ghana, Nkrumah, Gold Coast gained its independence in 1957, there were 8 independent countries in Africa, 6 in the north that
Mm-hmm.
you are looking at Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Sudan, Morocco. Then you had Liberia and Ethiopia. There were
Mm,
8. And then Nkrumah, Ghana came 1957. And between 1957 and 1963, after Ghana gained its independence, Ghana became the frontline state. It became a place where the liberation struggles were launched. And between 57 and 63, about 23 other African countries gained their independence,
including Nigeria.
including Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda, and all that. 23. It's incredible within 6 years.
Basically, the Western nations that have been dependent on the resources from the continents, from Africa, they were scared that with this rate of progress, they'll basically lose control of the place where they get all their resources from.
Yes, correct. They were scared and they were doing everything to reverse it, as it is happening in the Sahel now, that in Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali.
What kind of things were they doing to reverse this progress that Nkrumah was making?
They were, they had sent some saboteurs into Ghana who were teaching those who were opposed, those who wanted a slow approach,
Mm,
opposed Nkrumah, how to sabotage economically. They were basically terrorizing the nation to make it impossible for Nkrumah. There were several attempts on Nkrumah's life, about 9 attempts on Nkrumah's
wow.
life. There were several
Wow.
attempts on Nkrumah's life, and some children were killed because they gave parcel bombs and other things, a bouquet, and they would put a bomb in it to give it to a child, to give it to a whole lot of things.
Mm,
It was terrible. But because of the spread of the demand for independence and the resistance that we're facing all over, and they say that Nkrumah was a trigger and
mm,
Ghana was the base. And Ghana
mm,
was the base because Ghana provided training facilities
mm,
for most of the freedom fighters. They had training camps. Ghana had training
mm,
camps
mhm,
in strategic places in the country where freedom fighters from South Africa, from Rhodesia, from Tanzania, all these other East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, they came to train.
mm,
They came to train. And Nkrumah also gave a lot of scholarships to people from those areas to come to the schools in Ghana, secondary schools and universities, also to study.
mm,
So the British, particularly, and the French and the Americans were very concerned. And they said that Nkrumah had become the Castro of Africa. And he was a single person, the most dangerous person that they've come across. And something had to be done about him. And they went ahead to do something about him. And there's so many to say, but I'll speed up.
right.
You see, the period we had in 1961, January 1961, you heard about the Congo and Lumumba.
Yes.
Yes. The Belgians in Congo, Congo is the heart of Africa, it's the richest. And they seized Congo and they fought for independence, and Patrice Lumumba won.
Mhm,
But they said that Patrice Lumumba was a communist